Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever felt super motivated at night, made a whole plan to wake up early, promised yourself, tomorrow I'm finally getting my life together, and then the alarm goes off? You hit snooze and suddenly that motivation, gone. Yeah, same. Here's the shocking truth no one tells students and young adults. Motivation is one of the most unreliable tools for success. And the worst part, we're taught to depend on it. From a young age, we're sold this idea that motivation is everything. Wait until you feel motivated. Find your passion. Once you're inspired, success will come naturally. Sounds good, feels good. But in real life, motivation shows up randomly, stays for a short time, and leaves without warning. It's like that friend who hypes you up for plans and then cancels last minute. And yet we keep building our entire productivity system around this unreliable feeling. That's the trap. Let's be honest, motivation feels amazing. You watch a YouTube video, you hear a quote, you see someone your age winning. Suddenly your brain is on fire, you clean your room, you open your laptop, you plan your entire future in 20 minutes. In that moment you feel unstoppable. But here's what's actually happening. Motivation gives you emotional energy, not long-term control. It's a spark, not a power source. And sparks burn out fast. Here's the dark side no one talks about. The higher your motivation spike, the harder the crash. Think about it. You start studying with intense motivation. You tell yourself, I'll study 6 hours every day. Day 1, you do 4 hours. Day 2, maybe 2. Day 3, nothing. Now instead of feeling neutral, you feel worse. Why? Because your brain doesn't say, oh, motivation faded. It says, I failed. And that's where the damage begins. This is where motivation secretly sabotages consistency. When motivation disappears, we don't just stop working. We start judging ourselves. I'm lazy. I have no discipline. Everyone else is ahead of me. So what do? We avoid the task even more, not because we don't care, but because it now feels emotionally heavy. Motivation didn't make you consistent. It made the gap between perfect and reality painfully obvious. And that gap, it kills momentum. Let's talk about studying for a second. You're scrolling at night. You feel anxious about exams. You suddenly get motivated. You say, tomorrow I'll wake up at 5 a.m., I'll revise everything, I'll stop wasting time. But tomorrow comes, you're tired, your brain feels slow, your phone is right there. Now the task feels harder than yesterday, not because the subject changed, but because motivation created expectations your energy couldn't match. So you procrastinate, then you feel guilty, then you wait for motivation again. See the cycle. Another problem with motivation is that it makes you overestimate your future self. Motivated you is extremely confident. Motivated you thinks, I'll have energy, I won't get distracted, I'll be different tomorrow. But future you is human. Future you gets tired, future you gets bored, future you has bad days. Motivation doesn't plan for bad days. That's why motivation-based plans collapse the moment life gets messy. If you're between 16 and 25, this hits even harder because this is the age where you're comparing yourself constantly. You feel behind, you're trying to figure life out, and you think success should happen fast. So when motivation fails, it doesn't just feel inconvenient. It feels personal, like something is wrong with you. But listen carefully, there is nothing wrong with you. You're just using the wrong system. Let us be clear. Motivation isn't useless. It's great for starting something new, getting out of a slump, and creating a vision. But it's terrible for daily consistency, boring tasks, and long-term progress. Motivation is like caffeine, helpful in small doses, dangerous as a dependency. And most people are addicted. Here's the mindset shift that changed everything for me. Consistency doesn't come from motivation. It comes from reducing friction. Read that again. When something is easy to start, you do it even when you don't feel like it. When something requires hype, energy, and inspiration, you'll only do it on good days. And life is not made of good days only. Ever notice how some people always seem motivated? They're not. They just built systems that don't rely on feelings. They don't ask, do I feel like it? They ask, what's the smallest version of this I can do today? That question changes everything. Most advice online still screams, wake up motivated, grind harder, stay inspired. No one teaches you what to do when motivation is gone. And that's exactly where most people quit. But what if the days you feel unmotivated are actually the most important ones? That's where real growth hides. And in the next chapter, I'm going to show you what to rely on instead of motivation, how to stay consistent even on low energy days, and a simple system you can start tonight. Because once you stop chasing motivation, everything gets easier. Chapter 2 is where it all flips. Let's be honest, if motivation actually worked the way we think it does, you wouldn't be watching this video. You already know what you're supposed to do: study, exercise, build skills, be consistent. But the problem is executing when motivation is gone. So let's talk about what actually works instead of chasing that unreliable spark. Here's the one rule that changes everything. Lower the bar until your brain stops resisting. That's it. Most people quit because the task feels too heavy to start. Your brain isn't lazy, it's protective. When something feels overwhelming, it pulls you away from it. So instead of forcing motivation, you remove the threat. You make the first step ridiculously small and easy, so starting becomes automatic. I call this the minimum effort rule. Stop asking, how do I stay motivated? And start asking, what's the smallest thing I can do today that still counts? Not the ideal version, not the perfect routine, the bare minimum. Instead of studying 2 hours, study 10 minutes. Instead of writing a full essay, open the document. Instead of working out for an hour, do 5 push-ups. Instead of reading 20 pages, read 1 page. It sounds almost too easy, and that's exactly why it works. Here's why small actions beat motivation every time. Starting is the hardest part. Once you start, resistance drops, momentum builds, and your brain shifts modes. You don't need motivation to continue. You need it to start, and tiny actions trick your brain into doing just that. Half the time, you'll end up doing more than you planned, and even if you don't, you still win because consistency beats intensity. Another massive shift comes from thinking about identity instead of results. Most people focus on outcomes. I want good grades, I want a better body, I want to be productive. But disciplined people focus on identity. They don't say, I need motivation to study. They say, I'm the type of person who shows up even for 5 minutes. Every small action becomes a vote for who you're becoming. Miss a day, no big deal. Miss a week, now identity starts slipping. That's why tiny daily actions matter more than random bursts of motivation. Here's a simple trick I call the 2-day rule: never skip twice. You can miss 1 workout, skip 1 study session, or have 1 lazy day. That's life. But the second skip is where habits die. So if you mess up today, your only job is to show up tomorrow, even in the smallest way. Not perfectly, just visibly. This removes guilt and keeps momentum alive. And here's a secret most people overlook: willpower is weak, and that's okay. Stop relying on it. Instead, change your environment. Make the good choice easier than the bad one. Phone distracting you? Put it in another room. Can't study at home? Go somewhere else. Forget to revise. Keep notes open on your desk. Wake up late. Sleep in your workout clothes. Motivation is internal. Environment is external. External always beats internal. Low energy days are normal. On those days, don't push harder, don't quit, and don't judge yourself. Scale down, tell yourself, today is a low-energy day, so I'll do the low-energy version. That's maturity, that's sustainability. That's how people stay consistent for years, not weeks. Consistency is boring, and that's the point. Real progress isn't exciting. It's repeating simple things over and over again until they become automatic. You don't feel motivated to brush your teeth, and that's exactly the level we want our habits to reach. Here's a practical way to start tonight. Pick 1 task for tomorrow, shrink it until it feels almost stupid, decide when and where you'll do it, and prepare the environment in advance. For example, tomorrow after lunch, I'll read 1 page at my desk. That's it. No hype, no pressure, just a promise you can keep. Here's the real secret no one talks about. You don't rise to the level of your motivation, you fall to the level of your systems. If your system is too demanding, you quit. Too perfect, you procrastinate. Too emotional, you burn out. But if your system is simple, flexible, and forgiving, you stay consistent, even on bad days, especially on bad days. So let's recap. Motivation comes and goes. It creates unrealistic expectations, and it makes inconsistency feel like failure. Consistency, on the other hand, comes from lowering the bar, taking tiny actions, protecting identity, designing your environment, and showing up again after you fail. If you've been feeling stuck, waiting for motivation, or being hard on yourself, this isn't a discipline problem, it's a strategy problem. Stop chasing motivation. Build something that works without it. Start small. Show up again, trust the process. Try the minimum effort rule tonight. Remember, we're not trying to be perfect, we're trying to be consistent. Let's level up together.